อ depository services. It's a list of?
No, it's a proposal for
I know.
depository services, which,
You didn't spend all night reading it like I
no,
did?
we're not gonna read that.
Oh, sure, no problem. Yeah, just change your name tag. There you go.
There you go.
Are you good?
Okay, it is past 5 o'clock. We're gonna get started. Does this work? Testing. We're gonna bring the meeting to order. We've got quorum, and it's past 5 o'clock. We have in attendance Cesar, Tracy, Jill, Sergio, Mark, and Morad. Not present is Zoraima.
She says she will be 30 minutes late.
Okay, so she should be arriving here soon. Public comment, do we have any public comments?
No public comment.
Okay, we're gonna move on to item number 3, which is executive session. Closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code, section 551.071, consultation with an attorney, related to ordinance number 2024-1743 regarding quality of life projects. Do I have a-
Motion to move into executive session.
all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're gonna move into executive session.
All right, if I can, once we're not. Oh, hold on, I only read 3. Should I read 4? Yeah, read number 4 as well.
One 071 consultation with an attorney, and 551.072 deliberation regarding real property related to the potential exchange, lease, valuation, or sale of the property for the Brownsville Sports Park.
Motion to move into executive session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're going to move into executive session for both 3 and 4.
Are we ready? We're ready. Okay, we're ready. Okay, so we go to item 5. Consideration and action, if any, on matters related to ordinance number 2024-1743.
Okay, we're on item number 5. Do we have any motions, any consideration or action from ordinance number 2024-1743?
We need a motion to pass that the maintenance and operations goes,
That's the second one, no?
no, it goes to number 5. Because it's part of the ordinance, that we want them, the maintenance and operations of the sports park to come out of their 50% of quality of life.
That's item number 6, no?
No, that's item 5, because it's from the ordinance, because it's, the maintenance and operations of the sports park is not part of a master plan and study. So we are asking for it to be included as part of their 50%.
So make a motion to
6
approve.
is just to approve the land transfer amendment.
Okay, do we have any motions on the floor?
I make a motion to approve. Do I need to?
Oh, you have to turn your mic on, sorry.
Motion to approve item number 5. Do I need more?
Yeah, the maintenance and operations, sports park.
For maintenance and operations regarding the sports park.
Second.
Are we good, Corey?
Yeah, everybody needs to, we need 2/3 of a vote for it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Is there opposed?
Is there another motion you want to do for the numbers? Or just put that for the budget?
We're talking about the sports
Okay.
park.
Okay, number 6 then.
Number 6, consideration action on any matters related to the Brownsville Sports Park.
So a motion to approve the amendment for the transfer of the parcels to the city of Brownsville. Is what we're,
Do we have any motions on the floor?
I move to approve the amendment as presented to transfer the parcels to the city.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We're going to move on to number 7, which is our consent agenda items. All items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with one motion. If requested by a board member, any item can be taken off the consent agenda by the chair for individual consideration. We have, Dr. Reed, all of them? Yes, right?
yes.
Okay, 7.1 is approval of the meeting minutes, the minutes for July 29th, 2024 for the regular board meeting. B is the minutes of August 7th, 2024 for the special joint work session. And C, the minutes for the August 20th, 2024 special work session. 7.2 is the approval of the accounts payable report from July 1, 2024 to July 31st, 2024. 7.3 is the approval of the laser cutter purchase exceeding $15,000, including the equipment budget for the Build to Scale Grant EDA previously approved by the board on November 30th, 2023. 7.4 is consideration and action to enter into a performance agreement with the 2023 Startup Texas SBIR-STTR Accelerator Cohort Graduate William Brown of Embedded, Inc., in the amount of $10,000 in partnership with the Texas A&M Engineering Experiment Station. And 7.5 is to approve the following individuals to incur travel expenses for the following. Cesar Lopez for the IEDC 2024 Annual Conference in Denver, Colorado.
I make a motion to approve all consent agenda items.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We're going to go on to items for individual consideration. We have number 8, which is discussion, consideration, and acknowledgement of the July 2024 financial report. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Okay. You all did receive the package of the financial statements, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're going to go over the balance sheet, and this is as of July 31, 2024. As we can see in the balance sheet, we had $107,804 under the cash accounts, $15,198,426 under the investments accounts, and 665,923 under the accounts receivables, which is compromising the sales tax for the month of June. On the accounts payable, we have 378,429, leaving us with a total fund balance of 50,593,724, and broken down as follows: restricted 53,000, committed 8,192,953, assigned 1,610,670, and for the rainy day fund, 3 million, and the unrestricted as of July 31st was at 2.7 million. Yes, sir. It's available for the city staff, yes. Under the committed, we do have, let me see real fast. Right, basically, under the committed, we do have, all those quality of life projects, plus the big programs that has been approved throughout the fiscal year.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, this information is available or reflected on the city's accounting information, right? 'Cause
I don't mean what you mean with the accounting.
like, the same information, if the city accountant look into the BCIC funds, they will see that similar information.
They do have those funds, right?
Yes.
Right.
How long have you been using the committed account in your reporting?
The committed account, the fund balance breakdown, we actually started presenting it a different way. We started in April, presented it broken down based on the reports that staff provides us, on the big grants, how much they have available, on the committed items, quality of life, and all that. They usually provide us with a report with each project and with the balances outstanding or still not spent.
Thanks.
So the next slide is basically the breakdown of the fund balances. Again, 2.7 million unrestricted, 53,000 restricted, which at 53,000, we should be able to move it to unrestricted. That's the balance that was left over from the debt service, from when you guys paid off those bonds. The ape.
We budgeted 3.3 million for paying off the debt service, and it was. We budgeted 3.3 million for our debt service to pay off in January, and it came out to 3.2 and change. So there was a remaining balance of 53,000 out of that 3.3. They would move to
That could be
unrestricted.
released to the unrestricted.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that bond anymore.
And that's different from the.
Does the board need to take any action to move those funds, or would it be done?
Yes, they would have to take action on moving those funds, so we can reclassify them.
Normally do when we're trying to clean up all everything, we would do.
Correct. And obviously, at the end of the fiscal year, when the new budget opens up, it'll be reclassified to unrestricted. It'll be part of your unrestricted fund balance, the ending balance.
So, Raphael, the assigned balance, that's unspent.
That's
At the end-
unspent, correct.
That's at the end of the year. Does it stay there, or does it roll over to unrestricted?
The assigned balance is basically what has been budgeted for the programs that you all run.
Right.
And usually, those programs, at the end of the fiscal year, if you don't spend it, they go back to your unrestricted for your new budget.
Right.
Since you start budgeting a new projects for the coming fiscal year.
Unless we assign that it needs to roll over into the operating budget, because we have it carrying over,
If
because we
there's
haven't
something that
completed
wasn't
it.
completed or during the fiscal year, it'll be rolled over.
I guess, like, I'm just wondering about the accounting mechanics, right? Like, in terms of making the budget, because at the end, like on September 30th, what's not spent, it just rolls over.
It could be
like,
rolled over on certain items that you know you're gonna use it for, if you start a project, say in September, and you know you didn't complete it as of September, it can be rolled over for the
But I
next
mean,
fiscal
like,
year
I guess, like, technically, it goes from assigned to unrestricted.
to unrestricted,
And
correct.
then that balance, so that's,
It can also go to committed, because if we have a project that we started, and then we can commit it.
We can commit it,
So it
right.
can become
Right.
committed too, instead of unrestricted.
And I think that should be better, like, that's a better option, because at least it doesn't give that false perception we have more money than what's been committed already for, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
If there is a way to roll it into committed and continue that, rather than into unrestricted.
And then we showed the rainy day fund, the reserve for 3 million, which gives us the 15.5 million in fund balance. Then we go to the budget to actuals comparison. As of July 31st, we've had 6.6 million in revenues, majority of it coming from the sales tax revenues. We do have the expenditures of 7.3 million, which includes the payment to the debt service for the deficiency of the bonds. So right now, our actual net assets have decreased by 690,000. Compared to last year, since you only made that regular payment for the bond payments, because you were at a positive 2 million increase in fund balance. And the last page that I have on the slide is basically the sales tax collections through the month of June. As you can recall, usually we're behind 45 days on the sales tax collections from the state. So compared to this fiscal year to last fiscal year, we actually had 250,000 more of a receipt in revenues in sales tax from the state.
Can you go back a slide? So, wait, hang on. Oh, we moved too far.
That's back?
Oh, yeah. So. Strategic initiatives, FY '24 actuals, so that's 3 million, but on here, I think it was showing 2.1. This is the revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances.
It actually be the year-to-date expenditures that we have on
Sorry?
the 3.29 million is basically in part of your package where we have the projects.
Yes.
I don't believe I have it totaled up. No, I didn't
Well,
total it up, but
it's the third page in from the financial report. Under,
This one here. This one, the one with the red, with the yellow. These are the budgets.
right, but I'm looking at strategic initiatives, the FY '24 actuals, it says 3 million. But on here, it says 2.1.
which one are you looking at?
So this is column D, this is cell D21. This is end of July, right?
Because we're actually including part of the sports parks and the administrative fees. They're included in this total amount.
Oh,
This
I
is just a
see.
summary.
You're, okay.
It's just a
Well,
summarized income
that's-
statement. Yes.
So you group
I
them
mean-
together.
Okay, I get you.
Any other questions?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge the financials.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. Yes, you have something else?
No, I thought, are you doing the banking or? Okay.
Okay, here we go. We're going on to number 9, which is consideration and action on the approval of the depository agreement with Lone Star National Bank, LSNB.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tania Lopez. I'm the treasury manager from the city of Brownsville. Do I change it with this one? Green button. Okay. Sorry. Okay, the objectives for getting a new service for bank depository services is to select a primary depository financial institution. The initial agreement is going to start on October 1st, 2024, and it's going to end on September 30, 2027. The entity may extend the contract for one additional 2-year period through September 30, 2029. Sorry. This is the evaluation criteria that we used to select this bank. It was the ability to perform and provide the required and requested services, the references provided in quality of services, the cost of services, the transition costs, retention and transition offers and incentives, funds availability, interest paid on interest-bearing accounts, earnings credits, calculation on compensating balances, completeness of application and agreement to points outlined in the request for application, applicant's physical location as defined in the RFA and the convenience of locations, previous service relationship with the city, and financial strength and stability of the institution. The staff recommendation. The staff recommends accepting the application from Lone Star National Bank based of the following. Offer very favorable terms and conditions, no bank fees, and 4.5% of interest the first 6 months. And then it's actually the 70% of the T-bill for 13-week, which is 3.66. And we are planning to give the opportunity to local banks, and they have a proven track record both with other Brownsville entities such as BCIC, Port of Brownsville, and Cameron County. Any questions?
I have one. On the subsequent interest rate, you said that it was tied to the T-bill rate, so that will float, it won't be fixed at the 3 point.
Yes, and actually none of the proposals anymore, they were giving us any fixed rate.
So if approval, then the next step is we get signature cards then? So if approval, then the next step is to get signature cards for the board?
Yes, we have an implementation time of 6 months, more or less. And first of all, we're gonna start getting the signed contract, and then we're gonna be working on the signature card. So we're not gonna be closing any PNC accounts until it's fully implemented to the new bank.
Okay.
We need to get new checks and start changing everything. For example, if you receive any money, you need to change to the new bank, but that's where we usually keep it open 6 months to prevent funds coming in and be returned.
Okay.
So,
Additional questions? Okay, do we have
Motion
any?
to approve the depository agreement with Lone Star National Bank.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. We're going to go on to, thank you so much.
thank you very much.
Yep, we're going to go on to the next item, which is number 10, consideration and action to approve the following fiscal year 2024
Seated.
business improvement and growth big property improvement applications, which is A, 1114 Levy Street, El Jardín, property owner Brownsville Housing Opportunity Corporation, in the amount of $200,000.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So this is, we only received one application this past month, and that's for the El Jardín project. The request is $200,000, and that is to help with the commercial property that's on the first floor in the corner that you see there, on the corner of 11th and Levy. The end use would be a grocery store, which, as you all know, is one of the priorities that will be in our strategic plan, is to help bring another grocery store to downtown to address the food desert that WNHB pulled out. So the funds will go towards the MEPs for the downtown commercial area. They look at, it will only take about 3 to 4 months for to complete, and then they can have a tenant to move in by April of 2025. And this, remember, this is an 8-story historic building. It's going to be affordable housing on the second and through the 8th floors, and 2 units on the first floor. So anybody have questions on El Jardín?
I do. Has a tenant been identified for the space?
They're in negotiations, but the tenant has not signed the lease. It's about 3,500 square feet. Just that corner there, yes. Yeah.
Are we permitted to know who they're in negotiations with? I want to make sure there's not a conflict of interest.
Well, the project won't, the funding won't go towards the tenant, it will go towards the actual property owners. And the reason they are the applicant is to help reduce their costs for the tenant, to put in for the build-outs, and so that way that their rent, their lease is less. But it's still under negotiations, and I think you're fine.
Other questions?
Maybe, but. Yeah, December 2024 is when they expect to finish our portion of the project and have a tenant in by April 2025. If all goes well, but we all know how that goes.
Corey, question. So this is in addition to the grocery store and the Samano building?
That's correct.
So this grocery store number 2?
That is correct.
Okay, thanks.
I think that, what, never mind.
We, both organizations are aware
it's
of
irrelevant.
each project's
Yeah,
grocery stores, and we have been working with them and encouraging them to talk to one another to make sure that there's not duplication of services or limited of duplication of services. Because no matter what, those two square footage does not equal what HEB, to replace the HEB. So it doesn't, it's maybe half.
Do we know these grocery stores are gonna try to be a little bit different than the other one?
That's what we want. And then I have an idea that I would like to take to the board in the next couple of months to help address that food desert, so that way we can make sure that both entities come out successful. And then we help with that.
I can't remember how far apart are they, a couple blocks?
2, 3 blocks.
Oh, so they're.
I think it's 1 block. Like the Samano
That's
building
one
is
block.
here, and then right behind it is I can't think of the hotel,
Camp
Right.
Colonial.
right across.
Also, you
across.
also can look at the Samana building. Behind the building, there's that whole neighborhood. And if you look at the Samana building, I'm sorry, El Jardín, and then you have all the neighborhood behind it. If you look at the Samana building, Samana could also really look at more of the core of downtown. So they each, there's cross-traffic, but there's also potential of having clients that are not cross because they're of where the position of neighborhoods are.
And I think I don't know what's the concept here for the grocery, but for the CDCB, the concept is a little bit kind of different. You know, it's more vegetables and organic stuff.
Concept here is, well, what they're hoping for is more meats, a little bit more further shelves, dry goods, fresh, and yeah. But also the Samana building is trying to also work, if they do the rooftop garden, then they'll use those produce. So it does have a little different concept, but we want to work with both entities to make sure that both are successful.
I mean,
Okay, do we have any motions on this?
I'll move to approve the request as presented.
I'll second that.
We have a motion, Sergio a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
One abstaining. Motion carries. We're going to move on to the next agenda item, which is consideration and action to approve the following application for a Brownsville Small Business Recovery Fund contingent upon receiving additional documentation from applicants as required by Housing and Urban Development HUD federal agency. It is letter A, or letter A, J and R, Washateria Laundromat, Reynaldo Aguilar, micro enterprise category, $10,000.
Okay, I don't know if you recall that this program was paused for the previous 2 months. Well, it finally reopened this September. So we did receive one complete application, which is a laundromat that's located here in downtown, by downtown. They did encounter more than 50% loss, so they are eligible for this program. But I'm asking for your consideration and to approve this application, pending on some documentation from the city, which is mainly the economic impact report that they have to provide.
Thank you.
It's back. I did provide it in a detailed update in the meeting packet. Let me see. So right now, we have an available balance of $311,667. Just so y'all can get a recap of what it is. It's forgivable loans for small businesses and micro enterprises. So we can give up to $10,000 or up to $20,000 depending on how many employees his business has. All the pending applications that were paused, well, they were not paused, but they haven't been funded. They have been funded now. The program just reopened with a more streamlined process and just for a quicker turnaround time, meaning that me and the city grants department met. We had like 2 meetings. We came up with something, a better process to incorporate. That way the applications get funded in a faster. We did provide some recommendations to maybe make some changes to the program guidelines, mainly for more businesses that apply, could be that for them to be eligible, but none of those were accepted by HUD guidelines, so everything ended up staying the same. What really did change is the streamlined process that the city's gonna move a little bit quicker once we send them the applications for approval.
So, sorry, I understood there was a number of applicants. So what happened to
Yes.
them?
So during those 2 months that the program was paused, we worked on those applications, and those applications have been funded. Those applications were previously approved by y'all,
Okay.
but they were, since staff moved and all that in city grant department, there was not one specific person to review those applications, but now there is. So now the process is faster.
And is there a queue of businesses waiting to apply?
Right now, I just have 2 businesses, but some businesses that were trying to apply, they're actually listed in one of those documents that I listed there, that I included there, but they're not eligible right now. So, and
But you don't
since
have a list yet?
No,
no.
because we had to pause it, so we didn't want to advertise it. So
Because we were hoping of changing the guidelines on the way we determine the businesses that are eligible. Right now, the way they're eligible is they have to show that they had loss during the year 2020. So many businesses, specifically restaurants, they encountered loss, but in the year 2021. So mainly because they received funding from the PPP and all those sources that were out there. But it wasn't we couldn't make those changes because of the HUD guidelines. So we have to specifically stick with the loss being in the year 2020.
So we have less applicants.
yeah. So we don't have anyone in the queue, but we do have a robust advertising campaign
Yeah.
that we are launching, or have we already launched it?
Not yet, right? Yes?
Yes,
Yeah.
we've launched it as of last week, correct? Yep. Yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. We're going to go on to the next one, which is number 12, consideration and action on the fiscal year 2025 budget.
My apologies. As discussed in executive session, the last 5 items, the commitments, the rainy day, E-Bridge Fund, the Sports Park Fund, and the unrestricted should not be part of our budget that we take to City Commission. Really, we should only look at the revenues and expenditures of what we are approving for today. So our revenues are projected to be 9.3. So sales tax, we are basing it on 98% of what we collected in 2023, which was 7.2 and change. Included in that is the interest rates, our private funds, our public funds. Public funds includes the $500,000 that we recently got approved from GBEC. And the remaining balance of that public funds is from the business recovery that we get reimbursed after we spend it for that small business recovery. Grants are EDA grants and our Texas A&M grants and sponsorships and E-Bridge leases. Expenditures, we have 12.2 million. 32% goes to the city at 3.9. 32% goes to our community development projects, and that includes our quality of life for our community that we do, those grants. That includes BIG, that includes our community sponsorships, as well as what we defined in the last board meeting, or I'm sorry, budget workshop, was that we would put half of our unrestricted into BCIC projects that are determined by the Brownsville Sports Park study and our strategic plan.
So how are you breaking this 3.6 million among these programs? Like how much is for big, how much for quality of life, how much is for, what is that? Which slide is
Okay, so quality of life, we budget for 1.3 million.
that? Sorry, what is it here on the packet? I can see.
It's in your present.
Which page is it?
That's the presentation, but it's in right here. That's operating right here. This is the breakdown.
This is the breakdown?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm following. Thank you.
Okay. So, as I was saying, 1.3 million for our quality of life that we do for the community. BCIC projects is at 1.6 million. Our big is at 800,000, so that is a decrease of 200,000. And then we kept the same line item for the sponsorships for cultural events and marketing campaigns that we assist the community. The next set is for our entrepreneurship programs. So we have a little over 500,000 for our accelerator and pre-accelerators. That's our Startup Texas programs, our workshops at 25,000. Our small business grants that we discussed in the workshop, where we're assisting, instead of doing the pitch seed funds, we're now doing it grants to really identify where they can scale up for equipment and such. Our RGV Up Startup Week, our Frontier Leadership, Animal Angels chapter, and we also put eBridge Center facilities at the 417, which that includes our modification for the Blueprint Lab to accept those equipment that we got for the EDA grants. And last, we have for the under discretionary, our Small Business Recovery Fund, our trade shows, our professional studies and consultant support, and then also a grant match in case we always want to continue looking for grants to help offset our operating cost. And so altogether, that equals to our expenditures.
Do we have a breakdown for the administrative?
I didn't hear you. I'm
For
sorry.
the administration expense, like, do we have breakdown for that?
For administration, it's in the next, it's in your packet.
Do you have it in the presentation too?
No, I do not have it in presentation.
Okay.
But our administration is 1.6, and so that includes staff and operating.
I can't read. Where are the salaries?
And then,
I'm sorry, I don't
That's
have my
okay.
glasses, so I'm trying to.
There's also a pie chart.
Yeah, but I just want to see the breakdown of the.
you have any questions so far?
I have a little picky question.
Okay.
So the interest, sorry, no, my bad, I apologize. It would appear to me that the interest, the portion of the interest that goes to the city should be based on only sales tax revenue, not the other revenue. Have we backed those out of the interest calculation?
That's actually a good question, and I would have to get with city to find out if that interest is only based on what is received on sales tax, or is it all revenues that are received? That's a very good question. So that does need to be clarification
So
on
maybe we
how
could
interest rates are,
add that to our list of
yes,
we need to knows.
yeah. It's a very good question.
So do we have a line item for travel?
Yes, it's in your, I apologize that it's not numbered, but it is in the operating.
There's one for staff travel and there's one for board travel.
Yeah, there's for both. It's,
I don't see the salaries. Where are the salaries here? Is right there? Or they're not?
It's up at the top.
The BO?
yeah, but we don't, yeah, but it.
You don't
we-
break it down.
Yeah, it's not a breakdown, but I definitely can share that with
How
you.
many,
Rod.
how many staff members we have now,
We have 8,
including you? right?
yes.
Two of which are grant funded.
No, they're not 100%.
So is the 800 including the grant?
Yes,
So what's the difference between this, like, this year and next year? Like, we jumped from 500 to 700 in the payroll. Is it the new,
in payroll,
yeah, like I see, is the number correct?
that's actuals. We budgeted 800,000, actuals is 500.
Actual, sorry.
And
sorry.
so I budgeted at 703.
Okay, sorry, my
And
bad.
the reason it's it's a decrease from the previous year is our intent was to hire a facilities manager and a chief operating officer, but reevaluating staff roles, Nathan and Sam take over the operations of the facility because we felt like it still wasn't quite a full-time job.
Okay.
And then Victoria's duties changed. So we promoted within. So that was a cost savings for us. So what I'm requesting is that the board, for consideration to approve the fiscal year budget without the unrestricted fund balance, the remaining balance of that. And that will be revisited when we have a clear idea of how to move forward when we have that joint commission.
So are you gonna keep the sport park funds and the e-bridge funds and the
Those
reserve?
are considered non-operating, so they don't go into the revenues and expenditures.
So they're not gonna be part of
They're
the
not part of it.
presented budget?
And
So
the reason for that is none of them are collecting from the sales tax dollars. So eBridge is a self-operating, the eBridge fund, the revolving loan, is self-operating.
So according to you here, the total expenditure is gonna be more than the revenue, right? Like you have
Yes,
500,000 minus.
we're over, the expenditures are over 2 million. But at the end of the day, we have enough funds to cover because of what was remaining from our unrestricted and
Why? That's still unclear. That's exactly my point, is like,
Yeah.
how are you gonna go
I
with
see your
this
point
if-
on that.
What if they take more than what you expecting them they're gonna take? Like this, I don't know, I mean, that's what's I'm so confused about it, like.
Could we go back and edit if that ends up happening?
We
Like
would
if-
amend it,
Yeah, like if in November, if we come back and they
Okay.
say XYZ,
yeah,
we could come back.
we can amend it. I do want to point out, though, that the unrestricted balance that we have, that 1.67, it has been, the other 50% has been put into our expenditures. So so it's been assigned.
But why we're budgeting, forget about the unrestricted, because we're trying to call it even not unrestricted, we call it committed for future projects. Why we're not able to present a balanced budget without relying on unrestricted, whatever amount is left? What's forcing us to go above our revenue?
To keep at our capacity level that we've been doing our programs.
Or the other alternative is reduce the
Yeah.
amount?
I have reduced the budget from last year to offset our commitment for the 50%, but this is what we've been doing for our capacity for our programs.
So how long is this runway before we run out of concrete?
Exactly.
My prediction is in the next 2 years, by 2026,
Well,
we're gonna have a major shift in our capacity level.
But that's not sustainable though.
Unless we can continue, unless we can continue looking for those partnerships like we did with GBEC. I mean, our idea for GBEC is not a one and done, it's a continuous yearly commitment that we wanna keep going back to GBEC for and for additional funds.
Are we allowed to go for grant funds
We do.
as an entity? So have we been looking into starting to expand our grant applications?
We've looked at, for instance, our revolving loan, looking at other ways of loan opportunities that we could do, because then that could offset our entrepreneurship grant funds that we have. So we're looking at that. Right now for EDA, I think EDA is kind of like a no-go for us. We're tapped out for a little while.
For at least 2 more years, we can't do another EDA grant. It's every 3 years from
Yeah.
initial award.
So we'd still need to search for more grants, opportunities for us.
I think that will be a important task to look into during
Yes.
our upcoming, ADC conference, whatever we're going to in Denver, to see if there is any potential,
For sure.
Yes.
I mean, that should be
I mean,
part
it's
of our goals.
Super difficult to get EDA grants alone. In the last 5 years, we've received 3, so it's no reason why we don't redirect that energy into statewide or other kind of private nonprofits.
Yeah, and that's another, we have been looking for SATOP. We're fortunate, even though it's small, but it's something that contributes to our ability to be able to go for additional grants, because we already have partnerships in place that put a value to what we're doing.
So, I'm sorry, the runway comment was that when is it that our expenditures are gonna exceed our revenue?
No, we know when that's gonna be according to this budget, but when will we no longer have the ability to present a deficit budget because we no longer have the fund balance to
Offset it.
that? And it's shockingly,
It's,
right in front of us.
yeah, I predict
Yeah.
2026 it's going, if we don't find other revenues,
Or if our sport park initiative doesn't materialize into something,
yeah,
I
financially.
mean,
Sustainable.
we have the opportunity to reacquire that, share of that 50%, right? So if we come up with something really good, right, I think that's what you're saying, right? It's like the city is taking 50% of the revenue, so then what are we gonna do, right? And the easiest opportunity is to, come up with a bang-up plan that says, this is what we really want to do, we're really excited about it, aren't you guys excited about it? And they say, yeah, sure, go for it, do it. And then we get 4 million back.
yeah, there is that opportunity.
But also you need more funds, regardless.
Yes,
Even with that, sorry.
yeah,
Even with the doesn't matter who spends the money, right?
Yeah.
Whether the city or us as 50%, you are going above your budget now to maintain the programs that you only have, not even adding new things like we're thinking about, right? So you really soon enough, you won't have the capacity to be innovative, for say, because you won't have the funds to
Yeah.
support that.
And we can't
That's what I'm saying,
depend
that we
on
need
the
to
sales
very
tax.
actively look into grant
Yeah.
funds, and also very, really actively look into what this study about the sport park will come about, to choose the most financially sustainable option for us to help us continue providing these, services, if
Agree.
not even expanding.
Yes,
Make sense?
yes.
So, yeah.
Okay, maybe two things. I know that 2 years seems like not a lot of time. And I agree with the idea of like, let's try to apply for more grants and, fill that gap. But I just want to caution that that takes time too, right? Like the grant application process and finding someone who has that skill set, if you don't already have, the capacity on staff currently. Like, I just want you to make sure you have a plan for that, because if not, the 2 years will be here tomorrow, and then it's like, we've applied for 3 grants, and we didn't get any of them, right? Like, you don't want to have that scenario, so that's all. It's just like, I think you really have to proactively think if that's going to be the plan A, what
And
are you
what's our
doing
plan B?
tomorrow
Yeah,
to ensure that plan A is successful, and what's the plan B,
yeah.
right? If you don't get the grants and, to supplement that cost or those expenses, I don't know. I guess that would be a little stressful to me.
I agree, but we do need, we like what we have, our projects. We feel like our projects are robust. And we wanted to try to keep it at that capacity level, because the expectations of what we've already output, we don't want to step back from that. So we are looking at what can we do in the next few months to look at how we can, for next year, 2026.
I just don't think that even by the commission, I just don't think the ordinance was well thought out. I mean, that's fine, you want to force our hand, do 25%, but 50? I mean, it's gonna kill us in 3 years.
Yeah.
Bottom line, right? I mean, any way we can go back to them and say, hey, look, I mean, that doesn't.
We're fortunate enough that the ordinance does have that. We can go back and we have that 2/3 of a vote if we want to request for them to change the budget, and it has to do on both sides. So there is that fallback, but it has to be agreed upon by the city commission. And I would assume it would have to be, we have to present a valuable,
You mean they could amend
yeah.
our budget based on proposed projects?
Yeah.
And also it's gonna force us to be creative in terms of, maybe we take the initiative of supporting a quality of life project that will be counted as part of the 50%. Does that make sense? Rather than 50% and then we trying to add another whatever amount for quality of life. Between our initiative and what the city want, collectively, that will be at least, 50%.
Yeah.
Equivalent to that. So it's not like 2 pies feeding into the same type of projects. So there is too many ways, but Rami is right, like we're like we're behind now. We need to start thinking about all these alternatives at the same time and hopefully find a robust strategy to
Yeah,
implement.
I have to say that, when it was presented to us in January of the MDD, and so we were like, do what we can do now, because we don't know what, and then this came about, the ordinance. But we're trying to find creative ways to get around it, and so that way we can continue our capacity level.
Are there additional questions?
My last question is that you don't foresee any pushback from the cities going with this unbalanced budget?
No, because
They usually.
our budget last year was, we had less revenues and more expenditures.
And they were okay with that?
Yes.
But I guess maybe last question, I would hope that the city is seeing this too, though, right? Like, I would hope in their analysis of the proposed budget for 2025, they're also understanding, okay, well, you can only do this for another year or so, right? Like, I would just hope that they see
It's been
that.
expressed on one-on-one meetings, but not at a city commission entire
Well, I bet if
Which-
the city had seen our balance, we have 18 million last year, so.
Okay. Comments or questions? Anything else? Any other?
That, again, just to let you know, that is what would be presented to the city, except for the last, especially the unrestricted in the sports park, the E-Bridge Fund. Those are not operating expenses. It'll be told in their memo of that these are not part of the operating, and especially unrestricted will be addressed at a later date.
Make sure you put your mic on.
Okay, so I move to approve the budget to be presented to the commission as presented to us with the condition that Corey and the city finance department clarify the final and correct amount of unrestricted funds that will be available by the end of this fiscal year.
The end of this fiscal year or the end of this calendar year?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Let's go, more questions.
So,
Mike,
so the projected unrestricted fund balance, 1.67. And then the, community development programs, 3.87. I'm going to, see, page 2, I don't know what this is called, proposed budget. Page 2. Community development program totals 3.87. That's row 52.
Yes.
And then row 50 says 1.67. So I'm assuming like this is added, all the 48, lines 48 to 51 add up to 3.8, is that right?
That's correct.
So it's like double counted.
How is it double counting?
The projected unrestricted fund balance at the bottom, that's the amount that is not gonna be spent next year.
Considered the 50%. So as corrected at the workshop, our 50% was supposed to be put into the budget as defined as BCIC projects. And that's where the 1.6 is.
Determine the BSP study and strategic plan, half of unrestricted unassigned. I guess I'm a little confused, so that's what I thought that bottom line was.
That's the remaining balance, because it was 1.6 is what, 3.4?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that 1.6, so you're saying that that projected unrestricted fund balance is gonna go to the city?
That is the plan, yes.
But that's why we're not presenting it now. That's why we moved the motion without,
I mean, I think, go ahead.
no, like.
I mean, like, it's confusing, right? That line says projected unrestricted fund balance, but that's really, that part goes to the city. It should say that. Just because like now it looks like there's 1.67 that's available. Right? I mean, it's unrestricted.
That bottom part, right, we're not presenting it, that's not getting presented because that's already assigned to the city.
That's the
Okay.
one we were talking, it's not part of the operating budget, so that's not something that Alan suggested we should present to the city. And that will be further, but express that we want to further.
And that's why I added to my motion, to
Yeah.
clarify that, because it's not gonna be presented. This-
Right.
That whole portion after contractual commitment, that's not gonna be presented, but that's why I'm adding it to my motion to include clarifying the final amount, and
Got
this is the amount,
Okay,
so we can go back to it and confirm.
right.
That's right.
So,
There's a motion.
We've got a motion on the floor. Thank you, Murad.
I'll second that.
Second by Sergio. Any more questions or discussion? Okay, let's do this. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We're moving forward. The next, item number 13 is we're moving into executive closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074 personnel matters related to the president and CEO's employment contract.
Motion to move into closed session.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're moving into closed session. Okay, we are on. We did. Sure. There's no action taken in executive session. Who made the motion to come out of executive session? Murad did. The second was by
I did.
Sergio. And we're supposed to vote again. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're out of executive session. We are now in open session, and we're going to move on to item number 14, which is consideration and action, if any, on matters related to the president and CEO's employment contract. Do I have any motions?
I do. I move to award the executive session additional 1-year contract with a salary of $140,000.
Thank you. Thank you for the motion.
Second.
We've got a motion, we've got a second. Any other discussion, questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We're gonna move on to number 15, which is announcements, board and staff announcements or comments.
Okay, real quick, 'cause I know y'all are want to get out of here. Thursday, we have our Startup Texas SBIR, STTR pitch. We hope you guys come. Networking's at 5. Our pitch competition starts at 5:30. We have 5 or 6. We have 6 doing their pitches. Then we have our info session for Say Top on the 19th and our Alamo Angels on that same evening at the 19th at Curio 409 at 5:30. We'd love for y'all to join us. And then there's also additional events that are in your packet of community events that we're supporting, and we have tickets. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Introduce your new staff.
Oh, yeah.
Eric, who's our new community development manager.
Welcome, bro.
Welcome.
It's our first board meeting. So
All right. I hate to tell you, but this is like our shortest.
Yeah, we're meeting until midnight.
Okay, number 16 is to have a motion to adjourn.
Yes, I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
I have to make note of that.